This is Digital Anarchist.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here on another segment for TechStrongTV. My guest this segment is Eran Orzel. Is that correct, Eran?
Yes.
Okay, and Eran is a co-founder CRO with Argon. Eran, welcome to TechStrongTV.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yep.
Nice meeting you again.
Nice to see you again. Eran, we had your co-founder on, it's got to be almost a month now, quite frankly, right? And, fairly new company out of Israel and exciting stuff. But I don't, you know how people need to see things a few times before it sinks in. So if you don't mind, let's start with a little company background, maybe a little bit of your background, and then we could jump into some news you've got around surveys and what's doing in the market.
All right. So I'll start with a short background of myself. So I've been in the last 15 years at Checkpoint, running strategic sales and partnership there. So I have a long history in security, helping secure some of the largest companies worldwide. And basically, in the beginning of this year, 2021, I joined the two founder of Argon, and we launched Argon, which main goal is to secure the development environment space and providing end-to-end security for CI/CD pipelines, something that we see as a critical attack surface in today's IT landscape.
Absolutely. We have been, so here at DevOps.com, we've covered what we call DevSecOps, shift left, the whole, and that's where the action is in that, right? It's all in that integration, CI/CD, right? Continuous integration deployment pipeline. Some people now GitOps, right? As we continue to, a lot of it going on there, especially with the move to Kubernetes. And again, I recognize that you're the CRO, and we're not here to dive into the technical, but talk to us a little bit about how you protect that CI/CD pipeline.
Okay, so basically, when we look today at the CI/CD pipeline, and we talk with many customers and meeting a lot of CIOs and DevOps teams, what we see is that the thing that is missing in the market is the understanding of the pipeline as an end-to-end holistic process. And what is unique about what we are doing is basically we're not looking at a segment of security like maybe scanning or of containers or scanning of code and things like that, but looking at the pipeline as a process connecting to the environment themselves, the connection between the environments, the users that are running on the pipeline, the DevOps scripts that actually runs the process, and eventually also we're looking at the source code itself running in those tools, making sure that we secure all those aspects and ensuring that the code you committed to the source code management system actually is the code that will be deployed in production without any tampering and changes.
Which, of course, we've seen the consequences of that here in just the last few months, without mentioning names. But we need that, these supply chain attacks, if you will. Let's leave it at that. Supply chain attacks are real, and they're creating havoc in many of our systems out there. And then I also wanted to mention the website for Argon is I'm confused. Argon AI or IO?
IO. Argon.io.
Argon.io. And that's where we can get the information. Okay. All right. With that out of the way, Eran, let's now dig in a little. You guys recently did a survey and have some findings, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. So basically, following this large supply chain attack that happened at the end of last year, what we did together with Hypervise Venture conducted a survey that tried to understand the state of security of development environment across enterprises all over the world. And basically, we run interviews with more than 200 CISOs, application security manager, DevOps, and cloud security in order to map what's going on today and also understand what are the challenges that organizations are facing in securing those development environments. Now,
Excellent.
Some of the findings are probably will not be surprising, but there are some things that are really surprising, and I'll be happy to share some of them in a second. So,
Great.
I think that one of the things that we see as I think something that already almost done in the industry is that 90% of people that we talk to already deployed those CI/CD tools as part of their software development backbone. So we're talking about at least 2 tools that deployed, and this means that the adoption of those tools is very high. On the other end, comparing to this adoption, most of the security people we talk to have very low confidence in their ability to secure those environments, and even in having visibility to what's going on in this space. So it's like high adoption, very low security confidence in that.
It is, and there's a lot of reasons for that, though, right? Some obvious, some not so obvious.
Yeah.
Some of it, quite frankly, is just, I don't want to say distrust. It's not a lack of trust, but it's more a lack of familiarity, more a lack of communication between the security teams and the DevOps and developer
teams.
Yes,
right?
Agreed. I
And,
think that one of the main let's say reason that security see as in their inability to secure it was the disconnect between the security teams in the IT and the development teams in the R&D organization that basically don't talk and don't share those information, so they don't have visibility and they cannot secure something they don't know even where it is and it exists there.
Absolutely. And
You know, this brings up, I think, a big trend that we see in DevSecOps, which is security vendors, DevSecOps vendors, making security tools for the developers in the R&D team.
Right, which is, this didn't happen 5 years ago even.
Yeah, I think we see that also in the very large security vendor that all shifting left and starting to try to do that as well. So it's not only the startups.
Yeah, I know that's definitely the trend. You know, I guess the question is, do developers want to use them, right? And if they're geared to the developers and everything, look, I'm not from the school that says developers don't care about security. I think everyone cares about security. It's just a question of how much you're willing to do for security, right? How much time are you going to take? How much effort are you going to make? And the time and effort they may be willing
to put into it is not the same as
a security person's going to put into it, and for obvious reasons. But anyway, good finding. What else? Give us some other findings from the survey, if you can.
Basically, we already covered that, but one aspect of why it is so complex to secure those environments. So first is, of course, the lack of cooperation between those teams, the security and the development. The second thing is what you mentioned about security team don't see security as one of their main KPIs, and their focus is on releasing software fast and releasing it the right way, and security is one of the last things on the list. But another thing that we need to take into consideration here is the complexity of the CI/CD pipeline. Yeah. When we look at what we found in the market, there are more than 100 different tools that you can use. Now, the scripts themselves and the pipelines are built by the various development teams. And in many cases, even within the same organization, the two pipelines will have different rules, different process, and different scripts, and this create a very big complexity. And without a standard in the market today, each organization trying to apply some point solution here or some scanning or a process there to try to mitigate some of the risks that they understand. So I think those are the three main challenges that organizations see today and really prevent them from having the right security level for their pipelines as they do on other areas.
Agreed. I think that's absolutely a piece of it. Again, I think some of the forward-looking organizations are recognizing this and adapting, right, and changing these views and ways of how we do things. Unfortunately, I think that's the leading edge. There's still a lot of people
lagging on that.
And, not to put a plug in, but every year at RSA conference, for instance, right, for the last 6 years, we run the DevSecOps event. And I've seen this, like, literally change before my eyes, right? When we first started, we would get 200 people. And it was split between some of the DevOps people would show up just out of curiosity, and there was mostly security people. And their attitude was the developers didn't care about security, they didn't want to know what DevOps was, and all of that. Last year, we did it in person, right before COVID. That was the last conference I went to. We had over 1,000 people.
Wow. Nice.
About 400 DevOps, what I would consider DevOps people, 600 and something security people. But it was real. People are now starting to, I always say that the security community and the DevOps tribe coming together to work on these things.
Yeah.
This year for RSA is in May, and we're doing, it's virtual this year, but we're doing the DevSecOps event the Wednesday of RSA week, and we're getting phenomenal speakers submitting, people registering, because I do think, I'm not saying we're there or this battle's won, but we're starting to see the momentum really pick up for this kind of cooperation that's going to be needed, for this kind of working together that we need to be doing. So, I'm a glass half full kind of person.
Yeah, no, me too. I can tell you that I think the latest breaches that we see regarding source code leak and the supply chain attacks really put the spotlight on that and really force organization to start talking about it and make sure that they're not leaving a huge open back door to their organization. Yeah. And even when we talk today with CISOs, I see that at least, I would say 30% of them already working on implementing some security measures over the pipeline. Obviously, a lot of the DevOps that we talk with are already understand what we're talking about and are engaged and want to see what we can have, because it's a peace of mind for them as well. So I think that slowly we are getting there. The awareness is getting much bigger in terms of the need to secure those development environments and the risk that they might create for organization that will not secure them properly.
Agreed. I agree with you. I mean, it's good. From where I sit, and I've been at this 8 years now, right? It's encouraging. It's progress. I'm not saying the battle's won or anything, but unfortunately, in any war, there's always casualties too.
Right. And
we've seen some casualties. Anyway, what else on the survey? Surprising, not surprising, that you want to share?
So I can tell you a couple of things that is very encouraging that at least I see. Something like 70% of the organization that we talked to over the survey are planning to implement and deploy CI/CD security in the next 24 months. So this show a positive trend and shows that there is high awareness for the need and for the damages. I think that when you ask them, what you're going to do, most of them today understand that what they need is complete visibility over the process and to look at an holistic security solution that really have a lot of contextual value. Because if we look at the large latest supply chain attack, if it wasn't being detected by one of the customers that found it, this breach could have lasted for like years and the damage could be like phenomenal. So it is very hard to identify an attack against those environments. There is no visibility. The tools are built, they are not designed securely. They're designed to be open and fast and to encourage collaboration. So those environments are really open and risky. And I think that the notion now is that people understand that. The latest supply chain attack really helped them understand that a point solution here or some scanning there will not close this big gap. And I think we see a lot of good intentions on the security and DevOps side to close that. And I can tell you that when we talk to customers, 80% of the meetings, the DevOps and the security teams are sitting together and challenging us on DevOps best practices and security best practices. And this is very encouraging for me because now the awareness is there, easier to move them to really deploy and implement this.
Amen. Right? Yeah. That's a good thing.
A good thing. So, sometimes it takes... I learned this, I started a few security-based companies over the years, and I learned this the hard way, is sometimes your best customer is someone who's unfortunately been breached or hacked, and you get a big attack like we've had the last couple attacks here, or the ransomware that we're seeing, and it takes something that bad to get people to take this much more seriously and do something about it. So that's a great thing. We're almost out of time around already, believe it or not. The time goes quickly. Beyond the survey, though, what else is going on with Argon?
So I think that one of the things that we're going to do in the next few months is really put a lot of enhancement into the platform that will enable customers to implement their own rules into the system and really build a stronger connection between security and DevOps and enable DevOps to implement DevOps best practices that are really needed to automate a lot of the activities that they are doing over the pipelines, to save a lot of time on their daily routines, but also to make sure that if there is a misconfiguration or a breach, the security solution can automatically close it and report to them that, for example, someone opened a repository to the public, the system closed it immediately and alert, so we will check why this happened and make sure it will not happen again. So a lot of automation, a lot of speed, and basically creating security is an enablement that will run alongside the DevOps processes and basically enhance them and enable them to reduce the risks and mistakes over their processes as well. And by this connection between DevOps and security, I hope we will be able to bring security much faster to the development space, to the development environments, and close this gap that we identified, almost a year ago. And there's still a lot of work to be done there, but I think we are on the right track to achieving that.
Yeah. So that's something, Eran, it took me a long time to recognize, especially sitting where I sit now, is that we live in a bubble where DevOps, DevSecOps, the kinds of things you're talking about, we see this every day, and so we think everybody knows, and everybody's doing this, or everybody should be doing it. And what we've got to recognize is, that whole crossing the chasm model. There's early adopters, there's early mainstream, there's later mainstream, there's laggards, and it takes years, unfortunately,
for everyone,
for the end of the train to catch up. And it's just a fact. We can try best we can, but it's just a fact. Anyway, hey, we're about out of time. I want to thank you for coming on and joining us and getting us the survey information. Best of luck with Argon.
Thank you very much.
And you'll come back, and hopefully maybe we'll
be able to do a security conference in person somewhere soon.
And we can
I hope
hook
sooner
up that.
rather than later. Yeah, I hope sooner rather than later. I'm a follower of your Security Boulevard and other, sites. So I enjoy being here, and thank you very much, and looking forward for our next session.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Argon.io. Check them out.
DevSecOps here on TechStrongTV. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with our next guest.